know how I feel, Jack, about preparation. I teach my students at Waynesburg that 85% of the success of a broadcast is determined by preparation. And though there are many Penguins fans who quickly turn to the list of Mike Langeisms when they talk about how great Mike was, but it's really about his preparation, about the time that he put in before a game. And you can imagine, and by the way, if you listen to Sean McDonough tonight, you'll be impressed by how much preparation he has put in to make himself such a great hockey announcer. But that's what made Mike stand out, is that he had the ability to call the game, where the puck is, who's got it, the excitement of the game. But it's all based on the foundation of being well prepared, to know the players, what they can do, to have an understanding of the lines. They may change from game to game, but, by going to the morning skate. And I know a little bit about this, Jack, as you know. I spent a couple of years doing minor league hockey in my hometown of Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
And so I know a little bit about the challenges of broadcasting hockey. And you have to, dedicate yourself to that preparation if you want to be good. And Mike was one of the best.
Lanny Frattare joining us right now on the fan hotline, former Pirates broadcaster, Waynesburg University professor. Lanny, in addition to Mike obviously being the iconic voice of the Penguins that we've all come to know, he spent a pair of seasons in the 80s, 86, 87, doing Pirate games as well. While you were doing the play-by-play on the flagship radio and TV, he was doing it on the cable channel in 1986 and 1987. How much crossover did you have with Mike in those two seasons, and how much did you really get a chance to know him in the brief stint he did doing Pirate games?
Well, a little bit. We that year, by the way, the Pirates had decided that they wanted three broadcast teams, and so Jim Rooker and I did radio, John Sanders and Steve Blass did KDK TV, and then Mike and Steve did the cable. So yes, traveling was there was always that opportunity. Though I can't say that there were a lot of opportunities for Mike and I to sit down and talk to one another, but. I'd like to believe that we both certainly respected each other.
Yeah, and I mean, for you guys he is a hockey announcer with a little bit of baseball experience. You are a baseball announcer, and you had that brief stint of hockey, obviously before you transitioned into baseball. Did you guys ever kind of bond over that, or was it just one of those things that was a funny coincidence?
No, just a funny coincidence. But by the way, I've spent a lot of time in my life and again today, thinking about, what play-by-play announcers mean to teams. I'm one person, and by the way, it was voted many years ago, that the most important person to the Los Angeles Dodgers was Vin Scully. And when you think about our franchises, the importance of Jack Fleming and Bill Hillgrove to the development of the Steelers organization and their connection with the fans by way of the radio broadcasts and of course with Myron as well. I believe, by the way, that two of the most important ambassadors for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the many years of the Pirates organization, I believe the two most significant ambassadors for the Pirates are Steve Blass and Bob Prince. And if there's a third on that list, I believe it's Jim Leland. So the same thing with the Penguins, okay? I mean, there's no question about how important the development of the Penguins in becoming such an important organization, not only in hockey, but particularly in Pittsburgh, and establishing the Penguins as one of the great franchises in the National Hockey League. It has a lot to do with Mario Lemieux and then later Sidney Crosby, but we should never discount the importance of Mike Lange's connection to moving the organization forward. I suspect that in the early 70s, when Mike first came on board, there may not have been the same type of loyalty on the part of the fan base to the Penguins. And I do believe that part of the success of that loyalty of the fans towards the organization is due to the great job that Mike Lange did.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We're talking to Lanny Frattare, former Pirates announcer here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, remembering the late, great Mike Lange. Your first season with the Pirates, 1976. That's right in the middle of the Pirates. Obviously, they won a World Series in 71, 90-plus game winners all the way up until 79. The Steelers were obviously the Steelers of the 70s at that point. And then you had the Penguins. So you brought up, Mike's importance to that franchise as frankly, and for lack of a better terms, as bad of a product the Penguins are putting out on the ice before Mario obviously came along. And you combine that with how good the Pirates and the Steelers were in this town. I mean, did you really get a sense at that point in your young career, like how important Mike Lange was to the success of the Penguins, especially before, number 66 came along?
Well, I can't tell you that back in, I arrived in Pittsburgh in 76, and so I must admit to you that there was a great deal of ignorance on my part as to, the landscape of sports in Pittsburgh. And by the way, I don't know how many people know this or not, but Mike Lange was a candidate for the Pirates job, the one that I got. And I don't know what I would have done if Mike had gotten the Pirates job, whether I would have applied for the Penguins job or not. I probably would have. But, I would be lying to you and being too braggadocious if I tried to tell you that when I first came into Pittsburgh in 76 and early the late 70s, would I know of the impact of that. But I certainly know now. I certainly know, having been a Pirate broadcaster for 33 years, I know the impact of a play-by-play announcer on the fan base, and no one in the world has meant more to a franchise. No announcer, no play-by-play announcer has meant more to a franchise than Mike Lange. Now, there's a whole bunch of other individuals that may, as I mentioned, Scully and Bob Uecker in Milwaukee, who just recently passed away. But to have that kind of voice identification is so valuable to the organization.